What's going on, everybody? It is your boy Tim, back with another video. Just outside enjoying a little nature by this little lake I like to come to sometimes. And as always, I like to turn the camera on, take y'all with me when I'm walking. Today I got a question for y'all. Does your life ever feel like one continuous loop? Almost like a Groundhog Day kind of thing. Does it ever feel like your life is just the same old thing over and over and over, year after year after year? From talking with quite a few people in real life and on the internet, I found that a lot of people answer this question with a yes. Life just seems like it's the same thing over and over again. And then I have a follow-up question. I ask them, is this loop life making you happy? And most of them say no. Very rarely does someone who says their life feels like a continuous loop, like an episode of Groundhog Day, very rarely does someone then say, yeah, but it makes me very happy. There are some people that it does, but most people say no, it doesn't. Which leads to a third question. If our lives have become monotonous, if it seems like the same things over and over again, but it's not making us happy, we're not enjoying it, why do we keep doing it year in and year out? It's illogical. It makes no sense. Especially when, if you've been doing it the past 10 years and it hasn't made you happy the past 5 years, why would you continue to do it next year? It's illogical. It doesn't make any sense. And so that's something I spent a lot of time thinking about. And I realized the reason we do it is because that's what we've been taught. The reason we do it is because maybe not just straight up. No one ever told us hey, you need to, you need to set up a life that's super monotonous. The airplane going overhead. You need to set up a life that's super monotonous and just keep doing that for 50 years. No one says that. But the messaging we get, the programming we get, what we're taught from a very young age is that we need to do things that are stable. We need to do things that are steady. We need to find a certain path in life and stay on it. That's why you're always taught hey, go to school, get a great job, stay there until you retire. That's why you're taught to get married. That's why you're taught to get a house, get a mortgage, buy a house. You're taught that the important things, the things that'll make you successful in life are the things that are stable and last for many, many, many decades. Now, I want to say there's nothing wrong with any of this, but I feel like there's some balance that is needed. Because when that's all you're taught, when you're taught that all those things are important, when you're taught that you need to spend most of your adult life worrying about your retirement, when that's all you're taught, it leads to a life where you feel like that's what you have to do. Even if it's not making you happy, you feel like it's what you have to do because that's all you've ever been taught. And whether we like to believe it or not, even the most intelligent of us, if we're told something enough, especially if we're told that from birth, that's what we're going to believe. And it is very hard to break free from that. And that's why you'll see people continuing to live lives that aren't doing it for them because they've been told their whole life that's what you have to do. I think there should be some balance. I have nothing against, marriage and kids and mortgages and retirement accounts and all that stuff. I do think it is kind of weird that most people, the only time they will tell you that you need to go out and have fun or that you're allowed to have fun is after you retire. People say, oh, you got to do all this. Well, when you're 65, you can have fun. But it's almost taboo for someone to tell you can have fun in your 40s, But I think there needs to be a balance. I think we need to say, hey, all that stuff is cool. And there's nothing wrong with stability in life. But you also need to live your life. I think it is very important that we start breaking the loop. Okay? I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that lifestyle, but I just think we need to start breaking these monotonous loops our lives fall into. And we need to throw something into the mix besides just those things that society says is acceptable. You have to enjoy your life. What is the point of hanging on to life and trying so hard and struggling so hard if you're not going to enjoy your life? What's the point? You know what I mean? Like, why are we doing it? Why do you stay in the grind doing things you really don't want to do if there's no enjoyment in there? I think we need to make time for vacations. You know what I mean? We need to make time for doing nothing. You know, a lot of times when we do take some time off, when we do get some alone time, we don't know what to do. We feel guilty. This isn't part of my loop. You know what I mean? Like, we just feel like it needs to be work, bills, an occasional go out to dinner with friends or something like that. It's funny, like even a lot of the things we do for fun, we end up making that a loop too. Oh, we go to grandma's every year. You know what I mean? And nothing wrong with that. But it's like, I feel like we need to break the loop. We need to do like different stuff. We need to do unexpected stuff. When ideals pop in our head, we need to just do them. You know, like this whole life thing doesn't have to be structured. It doesn't have to be like so serious and so stable. We can do different stuff. We can just take a whim and go do something different. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you got to break the loop. I firmly believe that the reason you see people having like major midlife crises and things like that is because their life has become a loop. And like they've just been held down so long and they just got so bored and they're just so over it that's why you see them just like, instead of doing it in a positive manner, they go out and they break the loop in like a negative manner. You know what I mean? They go out and they do something crazy. I think that's the reason too why, you know, people have so many vices. For a lot of people, their vices, their drinking, their drugs, the sex, whatever it is, the cheating, whatever it is the only time like they feel alive, they're doing something different. But once again, look at that too. Those are vices, but they're kind of like socially acceptable vices. You know what I mean? People will say don't do it, but they understand when you do all those things. People will get you going out and like cheating with somebody more than they'll get you taking a year off. You see what I'm saying? Society has put all these rules in place and they've, you know, been these subliminal teachings our whole life so that we find ourselves acting upon them, even though it's to our detriment and even though it's illogical, because it's very, very hard to go against them. People will accept you doing something wrong that is an understandable wrong over you doing something right that's outside of like what society allows. It's crazy. Think about it. Think about it. There's all kinds of things you could be doing that your friends and family will not understand. And for a lot of people, that's why they don't do it, is because they don't want the pushback. They don't want people asking them questions. They don't want people looking at them like they're crazy. They don't want people saying like they're unsuccessful. They haven't made it. But I'm here to tell you, none of that stuff means anything. You are here for a limited amount of time, and there are no prizes at the end of it because you achieve certain things, unless you wanted to achieve those things, okay? There's a prize in life for doing the things you want to do, and the prize is you enjoy doing it. That's life. The prize is you enjoy doing it. You get fulfillment out of it. It gives your life meaning. That's the prize. There is no prize for like other people appreciating what you do. Nobody cares. The same people that you were trying to like do stuff to impress are the same people hating on you as soon as you turn the corner, right? In your face, they're like, oh, that's amazing, that's awesome. As soon as you turn the corner, they're like, that ain't gonna last, that ain't gonna work, da-da-da-da-da. We're out here living lives, doing the same thing over and over and over again to our own detriment, trying to please people who don't care because they busy living their life, or they're haters, or just because like we're scared to go against some programming that like means nothing. Like, it's your life. The only programming that means anything is the programming and the beliefs. I shouldn't even say the programming that means anything. The only beliefs that mean anything are your beliefs. But the problem is so few of us take the time to analyze what we actually believe. Even less people take the time to analyze, why do I believe that? Here lately, I've really been thinking about like so much of what I thought was true years ago, or what I've been told, is just a flat out lie. You know, the rapper Eminem has a lyric in one of his albums years ago where he was like, 99% of my life I've been lied to, you know? And I always thought that was just a cool kind of lyric he threw in the song. But the more I think about it, the more I think he's right, you know? The more I think about it, the more I'm like, So much of what we've been taught to believe is just a lie. We were told it because they knew if they told us enough, we would believe it, and then we would like map our lives out in trying to like go along with that belief. And typically, when we go along with that belief, we are wasting our time, energy, money, and resources in a manner that doesn't help us, but helps someone else. Basically, the people who come up with the lie get a lot richer, and they have better lives if we believe the lie. Because we'll spend our whole life doing stuff that a lot of times we really don't want to do because we think that's what you have to do. And they know most of us will never take the time and stop and be like, wait a second, why am I doing this? You know? And here's the thing, I think life is about like seasons. So you might start out with the life where you live, who you're dating, what you do, what you drive, and it might be working for you. But here's the thing, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, you've grown, hopefully. You've changed as a person. You're a different person. But you're stuck in this life that you set up 10 years ago. You know? Whoa. My mic got caught on the tree. Okay, my mic got caught on the tree. But so you're stuck in this life that like when you were 25, you thought was what you wanted. This is what everybody told you to do. Now you're 35, you don't like it no more. It's not doing it for you anymore. That's why it feels like a continuous loop, because there's nothing good. You know, it doesn't feel like a monotonous loop when you're getting something out of it. For example, when you're in love with somebody, especially in the beginning, you can spend every moment of every day with that person because you're getting something out of it. It's monotonous, it's a loop. It doesn't feel that way because you're getting something out of it. The same is true in life. When we're getting something out of the life we're living, you can do it day in and day out. You don't care. But when it's not what we want to do, when we've changed, we've grown, we've moved on, but we continue to do it because it's like, hey, it's the life I set up for myself. That's why, like, you're just like, man, you know, a lot of people hate their jobs. I believe that, like, yes, some jobs suck and there's a reason you hate them. Other jobs, I think it's not doing nothing for us anymore. We're over it. That's why you're like, why did I like this job when I got it, but now I can't stand it? It's not doing nothing for you. I think it is okay to like pivot in life. It's okay to start over. It's okay to take breaks, sabbaticals, you know? I just think we need to normalize switching things up in life. You know, they get you very young at like 18, in your teens and early 20s, they try to get you locked in. Buy this house, go to this job. You know what I mean? They try to get you locked in, get credit card debt. They try to do everything they can to lock you in because then they got you. And they know with that combined with the programming, it's gonna be hard for you to ever do anything else. You know, there's people who've been miserable since they were 30, they're 50, still doing the same miserable thing. And it's really like, what do you have to lose? If you're miserable now, if your life sucks now, if you're having to turn to drugs and alcohol to cope with your life now, if you're doing all kinds of crazy stuff to cope with your life now, like, what do you have to lose? You know what I mean? Like, why not switch your life up in a positive manner? All these ideals, because I firmly believe we all have little ideals, little things we love to do, things we see other people doing on the internet, and we're like, man, I love to do that. The problem is we suppress them so quickly, we don't think we have the ideas. As soon as it pops up, you're like, I could never do that. I think we need to explore some of those. People are always asking, like, how do I know what I want to do in life? Try some stuff. Some of it you're like, nah, I ain't trying to do that. Other stuff you're like, this is my favorite thing ever. Why was I not doing this? I'm here to tell you, you can discover things in life that become like your world at that moment. That maybe you tried previously, didn't care about, maybe you never tried it. Life is about exploring, life is about experiencing, life is about trying things. This whole ideal of in your early 20s, figuring out what you want to do and doing it for 40 years until you retire, crazy. Now, if you're someone who like that works for, and you're happy doing that, cool. But if you're out here feeling like it's just the same old drudgery, day in, day out, same thing, maybe a little fun on the weekends, but even that I feel guilty sometimes. What do you have to lose? Switch it up. And I know it will seem hard. I know like mentally you'll just be like, this feels wrong. You may not feel like you have the money to do it. There will be all kinds of objections, which some of them are part of the programming. But that doesn't mean it's not what's gonna work for you, okay? Just because something's hard doesn't mean it's wrong. Just because something's difficult doesn't mean it's the wrong path. In fact, that's usually a good indicator that it's the right path. All the vices and all the other stuff we're turning to, those are easy to do. It's easy to get drunk. It's easy to get high. It's easy to cheat, you know what I mean? That stuff, it's easy, and in that initial moment, it feels right. But the stuff that like, we're a little scared to do, I think that's the stuff that down the line is really gonna pay off. You know what I mean? Like, what is the point of living 80 years if you're not gonna enjoy those 80 years? You know, we do everything we can to try to stay healthy and like live longer. But if we're living longer, but miserable, we're just prolonging the misery. You know what I mean? So I think the solution is to just figure out a way to enjoy life. And that can take forever. It's funny, we'll go to college for 4 to 8 years to try to get a good job, but we won't spend 6 months to a year trying to like do some things to switch our life up to make us happy. You know, we'll try something new to make ourselves happy, and it doesn't work in a weekend, we're done. I'm not trying that ever again. But we'll spend all these years, we'll spend 15 years trying to get a promotion to make a few extra dollars, but we won't spend 15 minutes every night after work, you know, working on something different that might, you know, maybe a side hustle, a side business, something that could have a lasting effect on our life. If your life is feeling like a monotonous, humdrum cycle, you don't know why you're doing it, my advice, stop doing it, do something else. I'm Tim. I would love to hear your thoughts on this in the comment box. Let's get a discussion going. I love each and every one of y'all. Talk to y'all soon.